Hello, gorgeous women of the internet. I wanted to come here live for you today on how to stop, like one shift you can make to stop attracting men who make you feel not good enough. And so I was trying to figure out how to write this all in a post, and I just couldn't because it's actually been something on my mind since my honeymoon. And so put a one in the chat if you are here with me live. If you are catching the replay, go ahead and hashtag replay. So something you guys know about me, if you've been following me for a while, is I felt for the longest time that nothing I ever did was good enough for anybody. I would always attract people who wanted me to change who I was, whether it was guys who I dated who said that I was too skinny, and then I dated guys who said I was too fat, then I dated guys who didn't like the way I dressed, then I dated guys who told me that I needed to fake tan. And then I dated guys who told me that I needed to not fake tan. Like literally for the longest time, all the guys that I dated tried to change something about me. So it was like I just was not good enough for them. That's what it felt like. Is that true? Absolutely not. But it's what I felt like because for my entire life, I felt like people just wanted me to be different. I never said the right thing. I could never do the right thing. And until I actually quit drinking in, what was that, 2021. I've been sober for 5 years now. For, the time I was like 13 years old, which is when I started drinking alcohol, to the time that I was 26, I felt like I really didn't have much of a personality at all because I would always form into whoever the other person wanted me to be. I would pick up on people's personalities and I would like morph myself into who I thought they wanted me to be, who they told me I should be, whether it was the way that I looked, the way that I act, the way that I dressed, whatever it was, right? And I'm sure that some of you can relate to this as we're sitting here right now, right? And so while Mike and I were flying to our honeymoon, so I am like pretty sure I have ADD or ADHD or whatever, right? Undiagnosed, whatever. Who really cares? But I'm pretty sure I have it, which means I forget things a lot. I get overwhelmed really easily. I fidget like nonstop, right? And so while Mike and I'm kind of messy, right? Like not really, like I'm looking at my house right now. I'm like not really messy, but like I can be, right? And so while Mike and I were on our plane to our honeymoon, I could not sit still in the seat. Like Mike's over here trying to sleep because we got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I am moving my position like 20 times. And I'm putting my feet under him, I'm putting them over him, and all the things. And to anyone else in my past, they would have told me how annoying I was. And what he told me was, oh my gosh, you fidget so much, it's hilarious. And it continued to remind me that the right person for you is going to think that your flaws are adorable. He doesn't get mad at me for forgetting things. That's something that my ex used to always get mad at me for, um, just forgetting things or whatever. And so when I forget things, he just thinks it's funny. When I do things in an interesting way because somebody's looking at me, he doesn't think that I'm an idiot. He thinks that I'm funny. And so, what actually, and this was a very, very intentional shift that I made to be able to stop attracting people who wanted to change me and attract somebody who accepts me for my Stella. She Our kitty obviously likes what I'm talking about. I was very intentional about the shift that I made because after I ended my last relationship, my ex told me that I needed to meditate more, that I needed to do all these things differently, and yada 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 yada, right? And as I got further and further away from that relationship, and I was on my healing journey from that, I just thought about all those things, and it made me feel when I was in that relationship that I wasn't good enough. And then I looked at that pattern. Every person that I have dated has wanted to change me. And so I looked at my own behavior because um, every relationship that you have is an extension of the relationship that you have with yourself. I always talk about becoming the energetic match, which means if you're experiencing something in your love life, or actually in your friendships and in your careers, and you're starting to notice a pattern of the way people are treating you, you've got to look at, okay, why am I the energetic match for this? How am I participating in this pattern? And that's a very powerful question to ask because that means that you can shift it. So, whatever you're experiencing from men now, there's a piece that you are playing within that. Okay. And so, what that piece looks like, oh, now my dog's out. And so, what that looks like, wait, now I've just lost my train of thought. Okay. So, it's okay. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. My daughter's home from school, not feeling well. So, anyways, um, train of thought, energetic match, we're participating. It's an empowering place to be able to recognize what part you play in these things, right? And so if you are not experiencing the kind of relationships that you want to be experiencing, if you're having a pattern of men who make you feel like you're not good enough, who are abusive to you, who are emotionally unavailable, who keep you a secret, all of those things, right? You've got to look at, why does this feel familiar to me? Why does this feel comfortable to me? Like if I was ever in a situation like that again, it would feel so uncomfortable to me that I could never stay because I have made a new baseline for what is familiar and what's normal to me by being the person who would have the relationship that I have today, right? And so when I was healing from my last relationship, I looked at that and I said, okay, well, what part of me was okay with that and was available for that? And it came back to, again, my whole life criticized, like nothing I ever did or said or whatever was right. And so I decided that I was going to stop making myself wrong for who I was. I was going to stop making myself wrong for the things that everyone had made me wrong for my entire life. And again, I was super intentional about that because I noticed that that was a thing. And I was like, well, what if I just stop making myself wrong for who I am and I just accept all parts of me and stop, trying to be perfect, stop trying to change and morph into what these people want me to be? What if I was really just fully and unapologetically myself? And during that was when I was experiencing so many fun things in my life. I started dating again. I had gone to the Bahamas for my best friend's wedding, and there I made so many connections, and so many things felt just really great. And that was also the time that I met Mike. Was I just stopped making myself wrong for the things that I thought, for the things that I said, for the past mistakes that I've made, for my quirks, and the things that other people have felt is annoying about me, right? And that was the shift. It's not sexy, it's not deep, it's not whatever. But I looked at that and I saw, okay, if everyone's making me wrong for who I am that I'm dating, where am I making myself wrong? And the only reason I made myself wrong was because that was the conditioning that I had. And that's no blame to anybody, it's just the way that I internalized certain things. And so um, I truly started looking at myself and my life and just deciding, you know what, I like this about me. I like the way that I do things. I like the way that I think about things. And if I didn't like the way that I was doing things because it was out of alignment, then I shifted it, right? That doesn't mean that like we just have these patterns and maybe we're reactive or we are avoidant or we struggle with like anxious attachment and disorganized attachment. Like, I'm not saying make yourself wrong for that, but if you know that that's not a healthy way to live and have a relationship, obviously do the work to heal that. But what I'm saying is like just things about yourself. Like, are you forgetful? Are you messy? Like, I had a chair in my home before Mike and I lived together that always had my clothes all over it. And again, instead of him judging me for it, he thought it was funny because somebody that whether it was like his sister, his mom, or something, he was like, yeah, like you girls are just like that, you know what I mean? And so again, it's like when I just allowed myself to be me, when I just allowed myself to be messy and wild and forgetful and whatever. He also calls me, have you guys have seen, this sweater is really itchy, by the way. Have you guys seen the movie Big Daddy? And the kid Julian, he like wets the bed and then Adam Sandler puts the newspaper on top of the bed. Um, and then he's like rolling around on it and it's really annoying and all the things. So he nicknamed me Julian because I do that. You know what I mean? And so not wet the bed, obviously, but I fidget in bed. And so he calls me Julian. And so again, it's like it just goes to show that when you just stop making yourself wrong for who you are, when you can just embrace who you are, the quirks, the flaws, and again, you don't have to be perfect in order to attract a good guy. You just have to stop making yourself wrong for the way that you feel. That's a big one that I struggled with, and I've seen a lot of my clients struggle with, is they make themselves wrong for how they feel. If they're sad, then they're like, oh, I shouldn't be sad about this. This is stupid, yada, yada, yada. And I remind them, I'm like, well, you are a human being. If something makes you sad, why make yourself wrong for it? If they are angry about something, if they feel betrayed, if they feel unjustified, if they feel jealous, if they feel whatever it is, they had been making themselves wrong for it. And if you're making yourself wrong for the way that you feel, don't you think that you would also feel pretty comfortable being with somebody who also makes you feel wrong for how you feel? Like, think about the guys that you have tried opening up to. You've made yourself wrong your whole life for the way that you feel. Then you try to open up to these guys that you're dating, and then they make you wrong for it. They tell you that you're dramatic, or they tell you that that it's not important to them, or that you shouldn't feel the way that you feel, right? And so this is what you have to do for yourself: is decide, I'm not wrong for the way that I feel. I'm not wrong for making a mistake. I'm not wrong for the things that I have done in my past or whatever. Of course, we want to take things and learn from them if they are harmful to us. But like you just yourself. Another thing, I love watching TV. And over the last like year and a half, that's all I've really been able to do because of breast implant illness. I've pretty much been like couch ridden for a year and a half. It's getting so much better now. It'll almost be a year since I explanted, got my implants out, and it's been really, really hard. I gained 15 pounds. I could not work out. I was nauseous for about a little over a year, which meant I couldn't eat the healthy things that I wanted to eat. And even when I did eat the healthy things that I wanted that were going to help my gut issues, um, they actually made me worse. And so I could not change what was happening, and I had to accept my body for where it was at. I did. I kept trying to change it. I kept trying to change, the healing time and try to speed it up and try to work out and try to do this and try to do that and try to rush the process. And in doing that, I delayed myself and I tried to lose the weight and I tried to eat in a, if I'm not working out, obviously, you gotta to eat in a calorie deficit and not gain weight, you've got to eat less, right? So I was trying to do that. And then I just realized I was like, I need to stop fighting against this. I need to stop fighting against myself. And I'm going to stop making myself wrong for how long this is taking and how I look. And I'm not going to try to get like wedding ready with my body and all the things. And I just had to let it be what it was. I just accepted myself there. And it does take, effort to accept yourself. And it's not like just a switch that you flip, although it does get easier the more that you practice it. But if you want to attract somebody who loves everything about you and doesn't make you wrong for who you are and, just treats you with love and acceptance and unconditional love, that's going to start with you. And when it started with me, that was when a lot of things started to shift in my life for the better. I started attracting much better people, better dates, and ultimately my now husband. And that's something that I encourage you to work on every single day because you can't morph yourself into what somebody else wants you to be and be happy. Well, we can see our kitty. There you go. You can't morph yourself into somebody that somebody else wants you to be and be happy. You will be your happiest when you are owning who you are, when you are accepting who you are, when you stop fighting against yourself, when you stop trying to shift and change and all these things at an excessive level, right? I know that there are some women out there who I've worked with who are so obsessed with personal development. And in that obsession, it just becomes another addiction. I call it spiritual masturbation because they're, obsessed with the information, but they're not actually implementing the stuff. And they're just on this constant hamster wheel of trying to ascend, trying to heal, and all these things. But it's because they're trying to achieve a level of perfection. They're trying to change themselves constantly instead of loving who they are and where they're at and improving where they need to improve, right? So there's a happy place to be there, but I've been there too where it's like you use self-development as just another band-aid to avoid yourself and to try to attain this level of perfection so that you get love and acceptance and validation and all the things. But it's not going to work. you're going to find that you will be exhausted. I remember I had a client who did that, and she's in an incredible relationship right now, actually. She just moved in with her partner after a year of dating, and we had a call to catch up a couple weeks ago, and she had always made herself wrong for her body, constantly trying to lose weight and all this stuff, and constantly trying to do all this self development. And so, one of the exercise, like one of the homeworks that I gave her was no more personal development, like just no more. Your only job is to just love who you are and where you're at. And obviously, I gave her steps and tools to do that. And then when she stopped, making herself wrong for who she was and where she was at and all the things, she met an incredible man who is head over heels in love with her and who she's head over heels in love with. And when we chatted on our call the other day, um, she told me that, she actually has lost weight. She has a autoimmune disorder. And she actually has lost weight, but her partner loves her no matter what. And no matter how she looks, no matter what, like he doesn't care for her to change her body. He's happy for her if she wants it and does, but he loves her just as she is. And so that's really the power of that. You stop attracting guys that make you not feel like you're good enough. When you stop making yourself feel not good enough, when you stop changing all these, stop trying to fix all these things because you think something is wrong with you, you know? So just wanted to share that quickly today. And I hope that it was helpful for any of you guys who have been struggling with that, because that was a big struggle for me again for pretty much my entire life. And to just be loved by somebody. And he also has a really incredible family who just loves me for who I am too. I remember when I met them, I was like, I feel like I fit right in, and they have loved me and accepted me since day one. And of course, I was an energetic match for that because I love and accept myself for who I am and where I'm at. And it took me a minute to get there and have that realization. But it really is like being loved by somebody unconditionally, and who just doesn't try to change you and who just doesn't make you wrong for anything, and like just doesn't try to, just micromanage you or whatever. It's the best feeling in the entire world, and it will heal you